Hey guys, so I just finished my meditation class. We continued on with the topic about how to train your mind and how if you don't learn how to train your mind, it will then control you and your life. I love this because it's saying that learning how to train your mind frees you from the negative effects that occur when external factors don't go your way. It also allows us to grow spiritually and emotionally. He also made this really solid point. We all live in our minds, in the world of our minds, and yet we all talk about everything on the external. I think, like, in essence, the concept is that when our minds are peaceful, we are going to be in a happy state. And so trying to sort of embrace and embody this peaceful state is the goal. So oftentimes I'll start off with a breathing meditation, and it's really truly to gain control of your breath and also gain control of the focus of your mind and gain the ability to sort of rein in that mind. So when you start to think about something else, you go back and you focus on the breath. It's just sort of like constantly training your mind to not do the things that habitually it wants to do. We have the opportunity to say, mind, do this, rather than just letting it sort of mindlessly go on and on. So it's during this breathing meditation, we learn how to stay with our mind and be very aware of it and observe it. Our mind is constantly going to wander, but it's just at this point, it's really important to not engage with it. When you hear it and you see it or you feel it and you watch it and observe it, that's when you rein it in and you're like, okay, let it go. I'll come back to this later, and give yourself the permission to sort of not focus on that and focus back on your breath. It's definitely a practice of concentration. Like, some people think that this is a gift, but it's actually a mental strength. Through training, we can sort of improve and we can feel better. It's also really important to focus on the process and not focus on the results. It's the same that goes with manifesting anything that we want. Like, it takes time and things just are happening underneath it all. You might be going through a really difficult time, but you're naturally going to see improvement. It's just always important to focus on the process without focusing on the immediate results or giving yourself a hard time, because that's not what this is about. I think being consistent is also another big thing, and naturally it just turns into this sort of mental strength that you'll do over and over and over again, just like going to the gym. So I think the next step is to recognize that pain and going through any sort of suffering is a human condition that everybody goes through, and it's not really unique to any one single person. What sort of keeps us in that mental state of mind is looking in it and feeling like it's all about my feelings and my feelings are valid, and they are, but everybody goes through them. So understanding that it's actually not a big deal. Pain happens to all humans. It's not unique to me. One big thing is understanding that the origins of our pain always happens from our own mind and our own perspective of it. If we can understand that one part and change our minds, that's when we can unlock a level of freedom that you never knew existed. Because I think every single person here just desires freedom. And in some ways, when people are angry or frustrated or emotionally hurt, they're truly trapped in their own emotional trauma. They don't know how to get out of it. And they don't really have the tools or understand that we can actually change our minds, because all of these issues come from our mind. Origins of our pain happens from the mistakes in our mind and our perceptions of these mistakes. In a spiritual sense, everybody is actually really good. And the only reason people might make some mistakes are because of their upbringing and things that happened to them, and perhaps how they responded to it, and hurt people. So if we can sort of step back and zoom out and view a situation from that perspective, it really could change the outcome of any given circumstance in ways that we could have never imagined. Let's take practice. Challenges can help us embark on a new way of dealing with life, which is kind of also a really cool thing to think about, is just when we go through challenges, how else are we gonna decide to change, right? It's just at some point we're just kind of I'm fed up with this shit. I need to find another way because this is not working. And we've kind of tried this sort of way time and time again, whether that's the path of you or the path of me, or, it's you just gotta choose a path and practice it and follow that. And my practice here is this consistency in meditation, and that's what I'm going to be working on. So stop allowing your emotions and your feelings to control your life. It's like the concept of emotional eating. When we let our emotions rule, we do something that might not be in our long-term interest. And so if we learn how to change our minds, and if we learn how to train our minds, then we might hold back from these sort of things that deter us from the actual goal. Another tip and trick is learning how to tolerate unpleasant feelings. And how do you do that? It starts with observing yourself and how you respond and react to any given situation. Say there is something that triggers you, and you sort of stop yourself and you pause and you notice those unpleasant feelings. So for me, I actually will get anxiety, and I'll feel anxiety, and that's when I know, and I sort of stop and pause and watch myself. And I start to ask myself why I feel that way, and it kind of starts there. But then you can also go into sort of logically thinking okay, I'm not the only one suffering, the other person is as well. And if I can see that, and if I can recognize that they're just in pain, then perhaps that will also alleviate the situation and kind of allow me to have more compassion for them. But it's really learning how to tolerate your own painful feelings about any given circumstance, and recognizing when you start to feel those feelings and sort of change your perspective on it, and realize that the challenges can help us embark on a new way of dealing with life. And if we recognize that and we understand that, then we're holy shit, we're growing, And now when I reflect on my life, I'm man, it was the hardships that made me the person that I am today. It was the people that were not kind to me that made me the way that I am today, and made me learn from them and be that's not who I want to be, and that's not who I am. And so it's funny how life works, right? The yin and yang of life, and how the irony of how it's those people that put us in the most difficult positions that actually have the biggest impact on our life. Despite the support and all of that, these challenges truly do shape the person that we are and who we are becoming. Change is an ongoing practice. Our really difficult experiences can say, I need to change the way I deal with stuff. And so it takes practice. And I love that. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. I am going to chill. I'm having a super chill Sunday, and also going to be getting a massage later, which I'm so thoroughly excited about. We're having an Indian summer here in LA finally, but it is honestly perfect weather, and can't complain. So sending out the love. Mwah.